thank you guys so much for jumping on here. Okay, so here we go. My goal by the end of this thing is to open your eyes and create awareness to something that can level you up in life. Okay, I'm very fortunate and blessed to have what a lot of people know I claim to call a yes life. A yes life is when you are free every day to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, where you want, and why you want. And I always tell people it's what lives on the other side of money. So many people are working to survive for today and to struggle to make the money that they don't know the life that lives on the other side of money. So I'm 54 years old today, and I want to take you through my journey, and I want you to learn something that I didn't learn till I was 41 that changed my life and made me millions of dollars, and something that I didn't learn until I was 53 that has absolutely changed my life and set us on a course that is unbelievable. And the only way you can learn these things is by people that have already learned them, okay? So back up to when we're kids. When we're born, we have our parents that influence upon us by what they do for a living. I was on a Zoom yesterday with a lady who I was mentoring with, and she was telling me how, you know, she's struggled her whole life, but feels very accomplished because she's told her kids, you've never had to live in an apartment and you've never been homeless. You've never had to live in an apartment and you've never been homeless. And I was like, that's interesting that's the perspective of what that mother would tell her child. When I live in an apartment, and I know a lot of people would love to live in this apartment, and I know a lot of people who can't even fathom ever being able to afford to live in this apartment. And I want to tell you this to impress upon you, to help you understand how much this thing creates your reality, how much this thing is what can change your life, change your world, change your circumstance, and take you to places that we don't get taught how to get to in school. So we pay $5,400 a month for this apartment. To some people, they think we're crazy. They tell us, why wouldn't you put that in a mortgage? Why wouldn't you buy a house for that? See, it's a perception in their mind of how much money that is, right? To one person, $100, to a little kid, $100 is so much money, right? But to another person, $100 is not a lot of money. And to other people, $100 bills are what they pass out to kids or to people when they meet them, to their kids for little gifts or little, here, take this, like a quarter would be to somebody else. It's all perception and money, because it starts from back when we were children, when we were born. Our parents worked a certain way. And I'll give you an analogy. If you guys were Marilyn Monroe or Elvis Presley's grandkids, I can probably guarantee 100% that you wouldn't be on this live. You wouldn't be on this live. I want you to think about that. Why wouldn't you be on this live? Because you grew up differently. You grew up understanding things like royalties and wealth and a different talk of life, okay? You listened to conversations that existed around millions of dollars and things to do in the world and things you could do and impressions you could make. Where in the average home, like mine, we were raised on money doesn't grow on trees. And if it's too good to be true, run the other way, and you must work hard for a living. Okay, so our parents impress upon us, our society, those people that we hang out with. I get on a lot of Zooms. I speak at a lot of events and a lot of conferences, and I can always say, I was on an event last night with the Philippines and with people in Australia, and I was doing a talk, and I was saying, you guys, do any of you have friends that make millions of dollars? Do you talk on a daily basis with people that are millionaires, with people that are free? Do you get invited on vacations with people who travel the world and go on month-long and year-long vacations and adventures? And they were all like, no. And I said, this is my point of why I need you to understand how money works and how your mind is what prohibits you from being able to level up and create the money and the time freedom that you want in your life. Because I promise you, by the end of this talk that I have with you guys, I'm going to prove to you that it's easier to make millions of dollars than it is to try and struggle and stay struggling paycheck to paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. And I'm going to prove it to you. So let's take us back to when I was a kid. How old were you? I want you to put it in the chat. How old were you when you got your first job? How old were you? And do you remember what that job was? Do you remember what your first job was? And do you by any chance remember how much it paid? Was it an hourly wage pay? Or was it something you were doing volunteering? Or was it something you didn't even get paid for? Okay, it all starts young in how our parents teach us the way to make money. Many parents have taught their children, you must work hard for a living. I was speaking to the nurse that one of the nurses that takes care of my dad, his caregiver. And she works so hard. I mean, she's a little thing and she lifts my 6'3" dad out of bed and her back hurts for me to watch. And she works so hard and she's so sweet and she's got a big heart. And I asked her, I says, do you have any children? She says, yes, I have 3. And she's very happy and very positive. She says, yes, I have 3 children. I said, is this what you always wanted to do for a purpose and a passion? Is this what you wanted to do when you were a kid? She says, yes, I love what I do. I wanted to do this because this is what my mother did. And my mother loved to help people. I want you guys to grab that word. My mother loved to help people. And I said, that's great. I said, is this like what you want to do for the rest of your life? Or do you do anything else? Do you have any other desires or dreams? And she says, oh, I also have a house cleaning business. I have 6 homes that I clean and I have a couple employees that help me clean that. I said, okay, so you work all day doing this and you do that at night. I says, do you get to spend a lot of time with your children? And she says, no, but I'm providing for my children. My husband doesn't want me to work though. I said, well, why doesn't he want you to work? He says, because he makes enough money for me not to work. But my mother always taught me, work hard and make your own money. And I just like, oh gosh, this is another one of those situations where I've got to start educating the world on a better way to make money, a better way to make a living, on a better way to reach freedom and have time freedom and stability and security and be able to be with your children and find out your dash, find out the reason why you were born, what your calling is, and to travel this world. There are so many people that are born in the same town and they die in the same town. They never leave this town. They don't move places. They don't travel places. This is why we move so much. We travel, live, move all around because life is meant for living. And so many people live the life their paycheck tells them they can live. It's not the life they want to live. And by the end of this session, I want you guys to have learned how to reach the life you want to live and how simple it is when you get the right information and you're connected to the right type of people. So remember when you got your first job, you were a really good kid maybe, and you did really good at your job. And maybe one of the parents said, oh, well, he can come work for me. And then you got another job. Or maybe you didn't do so good at that job and then you got another job and then you got another job and you got another job and you got another job. And you kept trying to get job after job after job. So next thing I want you guys to drop in the chat, how many jobs in your lifetime have you had? And I'm talking about things that only pay an hourly wage, commission, or salary. That's what I'm talking about. How many jobs, how many times you had a boss? How many of those have you had? How many bosses have you had in your lifetime? Too many. Too many. How many bosses have you had? 6, 35, too many to count. 4, 10, more than I can count. And this is the norm. And so when we all get started in life, we get a job, right? And we work that job. And if we don't like it, we get another job. And if we don't like it, we get another job. And if we don't make enough, we get a second job. And then if we don't make enough, we get a third job. And then we try and get a 4th job. And then if we get fired from that job, we get another job. I want you to listen to the word job. It is spelled J-O-B. And most jobs will keep you just over broke, okay? Because jobs only pay what a job is worth, not what a person is worth. And the more and more and more and more jobs there are, the less and less and less value of jobs that there is, the less value to the job that there is. It's kind of like the more and more money that they print, the less value our money is. I don't know if you guys understand that, but they go hand in hand. So while you're in this phase of when you're a kid of having a job, every once in a while, somebody has a mentor in their life. And that mentor teaches them something about being their own boss. Become self-employed, work for the boss, be the boss, don't work for the boss. So that's where we start. And then you either move up or you stay. You either find what you call a good job and you settle in and you do really good at it and you do everything you can to keep it so that you don't lose it. And you end up moving decade into decade into decade in this job, and it's sucked all this time out of you and you have no life left. It's miserable. You can't get ahead and you can't leave it. You're kind of stuck on this insanity roller coaster. This is what happens to some people. But then along the way, some people get a tip of advice by somebody that says, hey, why don't you go out on your own? You can do it. Go out on your own. I'm going to use me as an example. I started as a hairdresser. My first job actually was volunteering. My mom made all of her children volunteer. So my first volunteer job was for Angel View Crippled Children's Hospital, where I went in and I fed the kids with cerebral palsy and played with them. And that was my first job, and it didn't pay. Okay. That was my first experience with work. And then I babysat a few times, I'm sure. And then I had a couple of jobs at retail stores that I got fired for both of them at because I couldn't balance the drawer. This is before I found out I was dyslexic. I can't count change, numbers, anything like that. Okay. Can't put things in order. It's just not in me. And so I couldn't keep those jobs. So I became a hairdresser and I got my first job in a hair salon and I worked my butt off. I was very good at what I did. I could make a lot of money, but I stood behind the chair for 8 hours a day. They wouldn't let us work any overtime, so I could only work 8 hours a day, right? And I was maxed out. I couldn't make any more money than what I was making, and they wouldn't give us raises. We were making hourly wages and we couldn't get us raises. But I had a very good mentor. And let me tell you why. When I was a kid, my parents divorced at 9, and that was before mandated child support. So guess what that means? Mom doesn't get child support because dad's not going to voluntarily pay child support. So what does that mean has to happen with mom? Mom has to work harder. Mom has to work more jobs. So what does that do with the child at home? They get raised at daycare. They don't get mom. They don't get mom. They miss mom. This was the biggest impression in my life that I had, that I didn't want to be like my mom. Not my mom as the human being, my mom as the mom that all she did was work and she was never home to be able to be with her children, okay? But the silver lining, there's a silver lining in everything. There's a silver lining in divorce, death, murder, termination, bankruptcy, pandemics. There's a silver lining in a storm, a fire, a flood, everything. There's a silver lining in it. The silver lining in that for me was that I had to make a friend. And this friend happened to be very wealthy, and they happened to have parents that didn't work, and they happened to be present in their life. And I spent a lot of time at this family's home, and it impressed upon me. And I got to hear conversations that were different than the conversations at home. The conversations were home are all about those conversations. These conversations were different. And the parents were always home. We always went places in limousines. We showed up at restaurants where they knew their name. They always paid for everything. They even paid for my first wedding dress. This is how much these people took me into my home. They had cleaning ladies. They always had they had a big home. They always had these parties where all the city people would be over there and the dignitaries. And I didn't really understand a lot of it. Today I understand a lot of it, but then I didn't. And the mother and father, they took me under their wing. They knew what my life situation was like, and they impressed upon me with knowledge. Don't work for the boss, be the boss. If you have to work for a boss, work for him long enough to figure out what makes him successful and then do it better. That was my advice. And these people were so impressionable on me. They used to keep my paycheck and make me manage my money. They taught me how to put my money in envelopes and organize it and do all this stuff. They impressed upon me. It was the knowledge. It wasn't the education I got in school, because I didn't get that very well. I wasn't the kid that fit in the box. I dropped out in my senior year, finished in homeschooling, which is what the norm is now. This is before homeschooling was a thing. Back then it was called, they had it for the bad kids. I forget the name of it. Anyway, I couldn't get good grades. I barely passed. It was just that was just me. And that was because I couldn't read well and I couldn't do numbers. I couldn't pay attention. I didn't fit in the box. For you parents that have children that are kind of like that, meaning they don't fit in the box, hang on, because they're probably entrepreneurs. They're thinking outside of the box, but they haven't figured out how to put the frequencies together, okay? So on with the story. So I get this mentor, they give me good advice. And so I did exactly that. I had this job. I didn't have it very long. I learned how to do what the boss did, and I learned how to do it better. And then I went on to become his competition. I became self-employed. So now that I'm self-employed, I'm working more than 8 hours. I can work 12 hours a day now if I want. And I get to keep all the money because I don't have to work for an hourly wage and let him have any money. Okay, but what happened in that scenario? I made more money, but I still had no time. I was working harder than I was ever working before because I'm working nonstop. I was exhausted. My back was killing me. And how was it ever going to end? I was wearing my body out at a young age. I couldn't take holidays off. I couldn't take weekends off. I couldn't go on vacations past a weekend or 3 or 4 days. I couldn't travel the world. I couldn't, because now I was the owner. I was the boss, right? So now I'm the boss. Over here, he's the boss. He gets to deal with all those headaches. I can go away on the weekend because in California, you can only work 8 hours, 5 days a week, right? So there's these stipulations that you got to play with. So now over here in the second level, I got some advice and it raised me up to where I could make more money. So now I'm making more money. But what is life like? I'm exhausted. I'm working all the time. There's no end in sight. If I'm not working, I'm not making money. If my clients are sick that day, I don't make money. If I'm sick that day, I don't make money. So then I got some advice from the same people. Remember the boss? You learned to be the boss, but how did he make money? He learned leverage. So I was like, okay, I need leverage. And you guys, somebody turned me on to a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. If you have never read the book, if you have read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, drop it in the comments below. I want to know who's read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I've read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I want to know who on my right now has read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Good. If you haven't read it, I highly encourage you to get it. It was the book that started changing this thing up here to understand how money moves, how money is made, how people who have to work for money don't have money. I want you to think about that. People who have to work for money, they don't have money. Think about it, because they're trading their time for money. And if it's an hourly wage, and it's meaning people that work jobs for money, and especially if you work with your hands. If you have a job that you work with your hands, I don't care what it is, if you're typing, if you're painting, if you're wrenching, if you're cutting hair and coloring, if you're massaging, if you're rubbing, whatever it is, filing papers, talking on the phone, punching a calculator, holding a pen, holding a pencil, if you're working with your hands, you cannot ever become free, ever, ever, because you must continue to keep these things engaged in order to create the transaction that creates the flow of money for the profits. So if you put your hands in your pocket, can you still make money? The best way to know is go take a nap. Go take a nap. When you're sleeping, how much money are you making? If you cannot make money while you're sleeping, or while your doors are closed, or while the customers are not there, or while the lights are not on, or while you're sitting on a beach somewhere on vacation, or while you're holding your baby, or breastfeeding your baby, or laying in bed sick with a disease, or having to have surgery and recovery, if you're not making money during those things, I really want you to hang with me, and I'm going to level you up and teach you why. Okay, so you saw me as a kid, then I got some good advice, then I got some more good advice, and I came in and I started hiring people to work for me. Now this is called leverage. Leverage is when you stop using these and you start making money off of other people's these. Now you start hiring people to do what you do so that you can make money off of them. So remember, I'm in the hair salon business, right? So I started by hiring one hairdresser. And I taught her how to sweep and welcome the clients and, make coffee and clean the toilets and do all the things that I was doing as the owner. And it gave me time to pee and eat lunch, right? Gave me a little leverage space. So then I was like, okay, I get this. So I'm going to hire more and more and more. Now, myself, behind the chair as a self-employed hairdresser, I can't make $3 million a year. I can make about $1,000 to $1,500 a day. Whatever that equates to, I don't even know. But that's what I could make, $1,000 to $1,500 a day, but it owned my life. I had no time. I was owned. I was owned by my customers and my employees. or by my customers. I was owned by my customers. That's before employees. Okay. And you wear your body out and you miss out on life. Yes, it's great to make people beautiful, but I'm talking about purpose, passion, and freedom. That's where I'm going with this. Purpose, passion, and freedom. I had a passion for hair. It was my calling. I did it well. I was in the top 200 fastest growing salons in the country. I was making $3 million a year, but not till I got up here. So then I'm up in the next level where I learned leverage. So if you are the only person that is making money for your paycheck, let me explain what I mean. Meaning if you alone must create or do something in order to make your paycheck that nobody else can influence it to help it be more, you are leverage for somebody else. So if you're the hairdresser in the hair salon, you're the leverage, like I was the leverage over here. So if you're an employee in a business, you're the leverage for the employer, okay? So you're working for the boss. You're not becoming the boss, you're working for the boss, and that's okay, as long as you don't stay there, okay? There's a difference. When you get there, don't sit down and settle in and put your seatbelt on and say, this is comfortable. I'm gonna stay right here. I'm gonna do everything I can to just keep this thing for 40 years and retire. Don't do that. It's very dangerous. For those of you that want to keep moving, I'm gonna teach you how to keep moving. It's about the information that somebody you meet tells you so that you can understand it. Because in each level, the person above us that we take our information from must make more money than you. I don't care what they do. They must make more money than you. If you're surrounded by people that are all broke, you're going to get broke advice. You must seek out mentorship like this call right here to learn something from somebody who makes more money than you, that has mastered something that you haven't done yet. Okay. Now, I used to be embarrassed that I was a high school dropout and that I'm dyslexic, can't add well, can't read well. I don't know 10 of the 52 or 50 states, however many there are. I used to be embarrassed about all that stuff. Now I'm so proud of it. And I know now why God made me like that. So I can prove that you can make millions of dollars and be free and own your life and travel the world and live around the world and find your passion and purpose to serve and live a selfless life without all those skills. I know it more than I know anything. So back onto my story. Okay, so now I've leveled up again. I've taken advice from somebody who makes more money than me now, and I now do what they do and make more money than them because I did it better and I did it more, right? So now this is a 19-year journey where I'm making millions of dollars off of leverage of other people, but here's the deal. When I go to bed, I'm still not making money. When I'm not there and the lights are not on and it's closing time, I'm not making money. When the client's sick that day and the employees decided to stay out on a Saturday night and or Friday night and not show up for work, which hairdressers do often, I don't make no money, right? And so I was at the max of my game and I'm like, there's got to be something else. There's got to be something else. I do not know. I've got to find how that next level of money is made. So I had a traditional business. By this time, it's a total of 5 opening and growing big salons and spas, 49 employees, 16,000 clients, 55,000 payroll every 2 weeks, $55,000 payroll every 2 weeks, $150,000 overhead, $3 million in revenue, but I'm living free. I'm debt free. I'm at the top of my game. I've got a beautiful home that's worth over $1 million back then. I've got the Porsche and the Mercedes and the Hummer and the 26-foot boat. I'm dressed to the nines, wearing my Tiffany. I got it all going on. I'm at the top of my game in my box. And I know there has to be something beyond there. All I thought though, all I knew at the time was investing in real estate. That's all I knew. I knew invest in the stock market and real estate. So that's what I did because that's what people with money did. Invest in the stock market and buy up real estate. And then comes the crash of 2008. And remember when I told you that every storm has a silver lining? Like I told you about the silver lining back before of my mom, I'm going to tell you about another storm and silver lining. So when the crash of 2008 came, my world came crumbling down because all of my clients were the super wealthy clients, and those are the ones that got crashed in the stock market and the real estate crash. I couldn't liquidate my real estate. I got annihilated in the stock market. I slowly came tumbling down as the crash came and took over anything that wasn't a necessity. Getting your hair done, as you just witnessed right now with this pandemic that we just went through again, going through, which is a repeat of what I went through. People will start cutting their hair at home. They'll not do their hair. They'll do ponytails. They'll quit coloring and getting their highlights done. They take their lashes off. They stop getting Botox. They take their nails off. They go to the Vietnamese places and they start eliminating all the things that are not a necessity. So when I hear that somebody's kid is going to beauty school or to massage therapy school, it breaks my heart. Breaks my heart because it's just, they don't have the right information. They don't have the right, they're not being mentored by somebody who knows how to get free. Okay, so let's carry on this journey. I come crumbling down. I'm quickly $1.6 million over debt, $1.6 million in debt, $20,000 overdrawn in my payroll account, crying myself to sleep every night, praying to God for a way to please keep my home and not lay off the last 25 employees because we'd already laid off a bunch of the other ones. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And I was praying so hard for something. And this was when I got advice from somebody who makes more money than me. And the next level at 41 years old of how money is made was revealed to me. So the lower level is employment, how to get a job. Everybody has to start there because you need to get your skills, right? You need to start somewhere. And then you either stay or you move up and you become self-employed. And that came from some advice that somebody gave you. Okay, you didn't learn it in school. You learned it from somebody that told you some advice, some mentor of yours. And then you stayed there for a long time, and then you learned about leverage. And you learned that from the advice of somebody else, somebody that made more money than you, gave you that advice and allowed you to move up. Okay. And then when I'm 41 years old, I learned the next level. And over here in this bottom level, it took me 3 years of working hard, day in and day out, paying all the bills, paying the payroll, paying for the inventory, paying for everything, and making not one penny of profit for 3 years. On my third year, we made our first penny of profit and we celebrated, because in the world of traditional brick and mortar business, that means you did good. And then if you can make it past the next couple of years, then you know you're going to make it. Okay. So I did so good in that box. Then I learned next level. So over here, I could make $3 million a year, but I had $150,000 overhead. So really, I'm basically just money laundering. That's what I'm doing. Bring it in, put it out, spend it, bring it in, just keep the cycle going, right? Just keep the cycle going and keep funneling the bills and the cars and all the expenses in between it. And just as long as it doesn't come crashing down, it'll keep spinning, right? Well, that's what happened, is that all the plates came crashing down. Then I learned next level, and somebody taught me about residual income. See, this is leverage. This is self-employed. You're still the boss. You just don't have any leverage. Employment, volunteer, employment, self-employed, leverage. Then I learned residual income. Residual income is something you also don't learn in school. Residual income is taught to you by somebody that has already learned it, somebody that mentors you, somebody that makes millions of dollars doing it. You heard a tip from somebody, you saw something on a Shark Tank episode or something, and you started learning about this thing called residual income, or you read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, or you read the book Cash Flow Quadrant, and you started learning about residual income. You started listening to people like that. You started getting those kind of mentors and learning that type of stuff. And residual income is when you work for something one time and it pays you over and 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 over again every time the customer pays that bill. The best analogy I can give you is the cell phone kiosks in the mall. Those little booths in the middle that say AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon. Those are not AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon. Those are cell phone franchises. You can actually buy one of those franchises. I don't know what they cost today, but back then they were $35,000. You could buy one of those franchises and you have a dealer code, but you have to put everything like they tell you. It's like Starbucks. You have to buy their furniture, hang everything the way they say, buy the phones and everything. And then you attract the customers and you ring up the transaction. And when you hit submit, it goes to corporate. of Verizon or whatever franchise you own, and your dealer code is on that bill. Now, for the next 2 years, because that's how long a cell phone contract is, every month when they pay their bill, you get a commission of that bill. It's not a lot, but it's a little bit. But I learned that you would rather, that you make a lot more money and you have a lot more quality life when you get a little bit off of a whole bunch of people's efforts than 100% of effort of your own. That is called delegation and leverage. I don't want to be the one that knows how to do anything. I want to know a lot of people who know how to do everything really well, right? Leave it to the professionals and learn to make money from the professionals. And so that was my mindset. And that's what the way I've always been. So I was like, okay, I get this. This is residual income. Oh my gosh. So then I got introduced to network marketing. Network marketing is the exact same thing as traditional business, only it's when you take away the brick and mortar and it came to click and order, the World Wide Web. So my brick and mortar business, I could only service the clients that lived in my neighborhood or that drove to our salon or flew in from other states to come be serviced by us. I couldn't go to them. In the click and order world, it's unlimited. It's not limited to 8 hours or 12 hours or whatever. It's 24 hours a day and it's global. There's no limit to the ceiling of how much money you can make. There's no limit to the number of customers that you can service. There's no limit to the number of transactions you can generate. And there's no overhead. Remember the $150,000 overhead over here? There's none of that over here in the click and order world because you don't have the brick and mortar. And then you don't need the employees. So now there's no payroll. So I get involved in this industry called network marketing that I knew nothing about, nothing about. And I learned about this thing called residual income. And from the day I started in that company to 3 years, remember over here, day 1 to 3 years, even, to break even on my investment and all the costs that it costs to build the building, break even. Over here, I get started in network marketing. I paid $720 to get started in that company back then in 2008. And I made my first profit in my first week. My first profit was in my first week. I had made more than what I invested. And my first $1 million in 3 years. From start to 3 years, $1 million. And I did the same thing that I did over here, but it wasn't for hair, shampoo, conditioner, facial products, massages, pedicures, manicures, colors, and highlights. Do you get it? Over here, it was for services and products that people had to pay over and over every month for, subscriptions. We have them in our home. Our light bill, our water bill, our gas bill, our electric bill, and our rent and our car payment are all residual bills. Bills that you pay over and over and over and over again. So over here, there's no residual income, there's leverage. Over here, when you learn how to build residual income, and then you start teaching other people how to build residual income, you've just built what these two are together. Residual leveraged income, which means now when you go to sleep, you're making money while you sleep. It comes while it's, those people are going to pay their light bills. They're going to pay their gas. It's like the owner of this apartment building that we live in. Now, there's 33 floors to it. I don't know how many people live here, but he gets paid every month off the mortgage. Every month off the mortgage. He doesn't have to work for it. He worked for it one time. He built this place. It cost him millions and millions and millions of dollars, but he's done. And now he's collecting rent for the rest of the time that this building stands. Okay, that's residual income. Now, when he has a lot of them and they're people, then it's leverage. Okay, so I learned that. And there I was from the age of 41 to the age of 53. And I made millions of dollars. I traveled the world. I did it in multiple companies. I've been free. I can live a life that people don't even know is out there. I learned my passion and purpose in life, which is what I'm doing right now. It doesn't matter to me if I ever make a penny from you. All I want to do is inspire you to step up, stand up, and move one more step forward so that you can reach a place in life that you have a passion and purpose for. Okay, so now next level. I'm age 53 years old, and I never knew what compounding interest was. I kind of knew, okay, so if you've ever heard the phrase, a penny doubled every day for 30 days is $10 million on the 31st day, I used to think that was residual income. It's not It's not. I never knew what it really was. A penny doubled every day for 30 days is 10 million something dollars on the 31st day. And that's compounding. It's not residual income. So when you learn how to take your leverage and your residual income and you learn how to compound it, this is where the billionaires are born. This is now the level that I'm getting my advice from. So I just leveled up. I've got a higher level of people that I'm getting my advice from, right? I'm getting advice from people who make billions and how they do it. And you've got to learn how to create, you got to learn how to compound your money. And so that's a whole education. So this is the journey of money and wealth, investing. And when you think investing just means real estate, I did too. Trust me, there is a world out there. Many of you have heard of it as Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and foreign exchange and all that. This is the change of the world. And this doesn't have a lot to do with what I'm talking about right now. I'm telling you the path of where I was going. But here's what I want to tell you. The one way that got me there is that here, I didn't do any personal development. My personal development was my parents, my mom, people around me, my neighbors. Then my personal development came from wealthy people who actually taught me some books to read. The Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the Cash Flow Quadrant. This is where people with money teach you how to read different things. They inspire you. They give you different information. Okay. Then I got up here and I started learning about investing into my mindset, investing into my personal development, learning how to unplug and unwire what was put in this brain that taught me the things that I thought life was to be like when it's not real. Life is like the way you think it is and the way it is in your mind. Life is what you see it, but you can change the way life is by changing the way you see life. And it's so easy. So when we got up here, this is when social media was born. Social media was born and we had a bunch of 19-year-olds that worked for us and they had this new thing called a cell phone and they were like talking on the cell phone and they stopped looking at people in the eye and they kept wanting to be on their phone. And it was like this weird thing that older people were having an issue with trying to connect. And so my husband and I took a course for 1 year. We took a course for 1 year, 2 days a week, 3 hours each day, 6 hours a week on how to communicate and connect. It changed our life forever. It allowed us to be able to never fight again, to be able to have communication with each other, to learn how to have vision versus just sight and see something, to learn how to be a good listener instead of just being able to hear something, to learn how to communicate and connect instead of just talk, to learn how to make those deep connections with people, to learn how to raise frequency, to learn how to understand how people are and why they act the way they do, and how some people are able to become successful people and some people aren't. This became the beginning of our addiction of personal development. Many of you may or may not know my friend Shanda. She's here visiting me. She's traveling the world. She's free. She travels the world. So she's paid off $100,000 in debt since she started learning all this. She's paid off $100,000 in debt, helped save 6,000 people from girls and women from sex slavery, trafficking. And her goal every year, when you get to here and up, you are 100% into personal development. You do things differently than you did down here. You've learned now that when you change this, this changes. You can't change that till you change this. You can try all you want to change that, and it's not going to change until you change this, and then this, and this, and this, and this, and this. You got to change all of this. This controls you. This is why paraplegics that can't even talk can be billionaires, because they only need this. As long as this thing is still working, they can become billionaires because they learned this. They learned these things, you guys. And so ever since I learned this next level, it's just been blowing my mind at what it's done in our life and how I didn't know about it sooner. And I'm like, I've got to start teaching people this. So I've started teaching people, you got to learn this, you got to learn this, you got to learn this. And now I've got people putting me on Zooms with groups of their friends and saying, Darla, can you explain this? Explain this to my friend. And it changes their life. And I'm going to have you listen to a couple people in just a second that it's changed their life. And one story especially that's going to really touch you guys deeply. So I'm telling you about Shanda. So every year, once you get into personal development, you learn that you must invest, just like how people tithe their 20%. You invest 20% of every penny you make into your mindset. That's the way it starts, right? Invest 20% into your mindset. Invest 20% into your mindset. But then when you get to the next level, you invest what you want to duplicate and 10x and 200x into your mindset. Once you learn that, everything changes. That's why you guys see me at so many conferences, so many events, both Jim and I, because we learned this. Every time we go to an event, we level up. Every time we go to an event, we make more money. Every time we go to an event, we level up, make more money, level up, make more money. Why? Because this got better. These got better. This got better. This got better. Shanda's goal for 2022 is $200,000 in personal development. She's already done $100,000 this year in personal development. I'm not talking making money. I'm talking not spending money, investing money. You should invest more into this. Let me take back you should. When you invest more into this, this changes. And if you find yourself constantly struggling with this, it's this that needs to change. And so once we completed that course that we went through, I started teaching it because that's my jam. I am a servant's heart. I just want to put out into the world things that are going to make the world a better place. It's called the law of reciprocity. Put out into the world the way you want it to return to you and you'll get it. Start hating, start putting negativity out, start talking bad about people, it's going to come back to you. Start putting good, start positivity, start putting good frequency out into the world, it's going to come back to you. And that's what I believe in. That's why I believe in serving and giving knowledge because the knowledge comes back to me through the universal laws of attraction. Now I'm talking in a language that some of you may not understand. Someone asked me today, Darla, have you ever watched The Secret? I get asked that a lot. And the reason why they asked me that is for the same reason someone asked it to me. His name is George LaBarbera, and I give him credit for this for my entire life. He was one of my clients in my hair salon. I used to cut his hair all the time. And he used to tell me, Darla, you got to watch The Secret. You got to watch The Secret. You are so much like The Secret. You just have to watch it. You just have to watch it. I can't believe you've never watched The Secret. You're going to love The Secret when you watch The Secret. And I kept forgetting until one day I remembered I watched The Secret. It changed my life. If you haven't watched The Secret, watch The Secret. So then the conversations start getting different. The conversations around the water hole, the places you vacation, the conversations that are held, because they don't exist down here, because there is no opportunity to even do these things. So why talk about them, right? So the levels raise, the conversations raise, the type of people you hang out with raises, the things you think raises. And then you learned about compounding interest, and oh my gosh, it'll blow your mind. So as many of you know, I'm a personal development freak. I can't tell you enough about how important personal development is. And so when you start, you got to start somewhere. And that's what I want to bring a guest on, and I want to have her share her story. Her story is incredibly inspiring. She used to be a police officer on the streets in Australia. And about 2 years ago, she came into my life because she decided to invest in my coaching program and get some personal development. And I want you to hear what has happened to her life and where her life is at now. And so, Tanya, are you there? How do I bring her?
You will need to go ahead and make her a panelist from your end.
I have to make her a panelist from mine. Okay. Okay, so let's see. There she is. More, make a panelist, make the panelist. And hello, beautiful. Unmute yourself.
Hi.
I'm so happy. I didn't tell her she was going to do this like 2 minutes.
No, I know.
I didn't tell everyone. I just pulled them on here and told them this because I don't want people to prepare. I want them to speak from the heart. So speak from your heart, Tanya, just 2 minutes. Give a background of where you came from and what made you decide to invest in yourself and what happened, and give a quick little bit of that journey into where you are today.
Okay, so I reached out to Darla just over a year ago, and she had the MAC course and everything. But to be fair, like, I didn't care what she said or what she had going. I just knew that I was going to do it. I was like, yep, no worries. Where's the sign up? Let's do it. Because Darla has done this with so many other people. You know, she's helped hundreds upon hundreds, you know, creating wealth and breaking them free. And so, but I didn't know Darla from a bar of soap, but I have heard her stories. I've heard other people's stories. So it was a no-brainer for me. And so I got together with Darla, and she just, you know, she did a roadmap with me. She asked what I really wanted in life, and I said, to be fair, I want to leave the force. I don't want to put my body on the line anymore. I don't want to put my mind on the line. I just want to retire. I want to spend my days with my daughter Ava. I want to spend my time with family. I want to be having adventures, maybe go to Canada, live on some mountain somewhere, go skiing. And 12 months after joining with Darla and having her as my coach, as my mentor, 12 months after investing in myself, all of that stuff that I just mentioned, all of that came true.
And now she's living on a mountaintop in Sun Peaks, Canada, with her daughter, getting lost in the mountains and giving her daughter a life that she never could have. Now it's a lot. It's all about reinventing your mind. It was scary at times. She was nervous at times. She was fearful at times. She was doubtful at times, but she was coachable, and she was willing to fight through the process. And she wanted what was at the end of the rainbow so much more than what she was coming from. And that's the thing, you guys. Thank you so much, Tanya. I just appreciate and love you.
Can I just say one little bit, Darla? And you came on a very good point. It's those moments where we have those doubts, where, you know, we want to give up, where we want to go back to where we were, where we, you know, go through those stressful moments. And that's why you need Darla. Because you need Darla, you need that mentor, that coach to pull you out of that and get you thinking about what it is that you really want. Because we've all done it. We've all made health commitments and fitness commitments, and then, oh, it gets too hard, and you know what, I'm happy with my weight, or whatever the situation is, right? But when you have someone that actually pulls you up on it, or calls out, you know, your bullshit, and then makes you do what you need to do, that's why you need it.
Yay, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. And to have a mentor is to teach you things that you've never done before, and to be able to go in. It's scary because you've never been there. It's the fear of the unknown. But what I can tell you is that if you keep heading in the same direction, I'm going to get a job, I'm going to get another job, I'm going to get a job, you're going to stay in what the job provides. How many people do you know that work a job that pays an hourly wage, that makes millions of dollars, lives life free, travels the world, raises their own children, and it just doesn't exist, right? It's not even a chance, zero. So you have to learn something different. You have to head in a completely different direction, off into something you've never done before. And for those of you that have worked, how many years, here, drop this in the chats, how many years have you done what you do? How many years have you been doing the job that you're at? Even if it's a bookkeeper and you're on your 6th job, but you've done it for 19 years. Okay, how many years have you been at the same job? 17 years. Oh, Paul Russo, you got me. 25, 30, 45. Okay, so I want you to, let's just take 10 years. If you say you love what you do, I love what I do. It makes me happy because I love to help people. We're back to that love to help people. If you have a job that you love to help people, you'll stick with it because it fills up your servant's heart. Your servant's heart is to help people. So that's why you become a nurse. That's why you become a teacher. That's why you become a hairdresser. That's why you become an assistant or a teacher's aide or something like that, because you love to help people. But you stick and stay in that mold, and you settle in and you have a good attitude. I'm going to have a positive attitude so I can get through this for the next 25 years. And the positive attitude is great, but it can kind of hurt you because it makes you stay there and accept where you're at, because it fills you up because you help people. It doesn't pay me what I'm worth, but it makes me feel good because I get to help people. I'm a social worker. So I like that because I get to help people, right? But yet it doesn't provide you the life of where you want to live. You've settled in and you've become complacent to accept where you're at. So here's how to prove it. Would you do what you do for the next 10 years, the same way you've done it for the last 10 years? Get up, go to work, get dressed, drive in traffic, show up when you're sick, when your kids, you miss your kids' things, do all for free, no paycheck whatsoever. When I ask people that, they're like, no, I would never do that. I couldn't do that. That's because you don't love what you do. You love what it provides for you to do, which is to fill your heart, to serve, okay? I am a servant leader. All these people on here are servant leaders. They love helping people, okay? So when you get into network marketing is where most millionaires are made, Okay, most millionaires came from network marketing, which means 95% of the world does not know network marketing. So 95% of the world doesn't understand network marketing. They're just like I was, and they're going to tell you that it's bad and scam and pyramid and all these things, right? Which is not true. It's just lack of education. If I would have had a brother or a mother or an aunt or a sister that was me, okay, let's take my own daughter, for example. I grew up that way, being told all those things, not having the trips and the vacations and the travels and the fun family. I've never seen my parents hug. I've never heard them say, I love you. I never got any of that. Then you take my daughter. My daughter was raised with a yes life. My daughter was raised with present parents. My daughter's traveled the world. Every single stamp I have in my passport is the same stamp she has in hers, because I was my age when she was doing it at her age. Okay, baby, mom, adult, first time. She got to do the things that most kids don't get to do. She knows all, she's been listening to these conversations. She's been sitting in conference rooms. She's been watching her mom on stage talk. She's been hearing all these things, right? So she knows network marketing is real. She knows that millions are made to be possible, and that she thinks we're an average family. She thinks everybody's like us, until she goes into their home and meets the kids and grows up and makes friends and realizes that they're not. So this awareness and this aha moment has happened within our own child, which will define her differently as she grows, because she's already had the mentorship to take her up through those levels of somebody else giving you more advice than what they know from you. Okay, so this is what I want to do, is I want to inspire you guys and give you advice. I want to give you advice that if you will just believe in something bigger and dream about something bigger and start learning and putting into your brain and personal developing and start manifesting and learning how to do these things, you can't do it on your own. If I wanted to become a bikini competition model and go compete on stage, I can't YouTube it. I can't read books on my own. I can't ask some friends for advice. I can't try and figure it out on my own, because I don't want to pay somebody $200 a month to mentor me. I have to invest in the mentor. I have to learn everything about the mindset that keeps me from eating the food and drinking the things and showing up to the gym and doing the routines. It's all up here, 100% mindset. I need to learn the mindset, not the skill, right? It's the mindset, and the mindset can't be taught. Okay, it can't be taught. And so Sandy, jump on here for just a quick second. So this is my friend Sandy. She's been in network marketing for 16 years. And for the first time, she's making more money in network marketing than she's ever made. And she's made just incredible leaps and bounds. She's also someone who went through my MAC course. Just give a couple words about MAC and what it's done for you and that.
Okay, so thank you, Darla, for having me on the call without telling me ahead of time. It's a good thing we love you. I've been working with Darla probably 2.5 years now. And when I started with Mac and started the one-on-one relationship with Darla, I had a corporate job, and I hated my corporate job, but I felt stuck. And because I worked with Darla, she helped me see a way of me coming out of my job and able to work from home and do other things as I was growing my network marketing business. And she's also helped me learn about I am statements. I've heard of I am statements, but she empowered me to do my I am statements. And then also what I speak, how I talk, not to say the word no, and learning how to see the whole picture and see where it is I want to go and that it's possible.
Yes, yay. And that's the thing, is most people don't have a pathway that allows them to see far ahead of something that is so grand. Like, are you so excited every day that you're doing something that you know is going to retire you early, allow you to travel the world, take care of your family, do the things? Most people think they can't, so they don't think that. So this is about learning the knowledge. Okay, so keep going. So then I used to proclaim, I still proclaim, but I found out that it's not true. I used to proclaim that I was an open-minded opportunist, that I was somebody who was open-minded, and I looked for opportunities and I sought things and I believed in, and I claimed, I thought I was, and I was proven that I wasn't. So 3.5 years ago, my husband, his started coming to me with a business that I didn't want anything to do with, because it was about trading and stock market. And I was like, no, I crashed in the stock market. I don't ever want to touch it again. And trading is like numbers, and I don't do numbers. So no, not for me. And he kept after me and 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 after me. And he kept telling me, because my husband is analytical, he's very smart. He's the spreadsheet guy. He's a COO of a big global company. And he has a very good paying job, but it's just a job, you guys. There's no fun and joy in spreadsheets and $1 million contracts and negotiations with lawyers and employees. And there's no fun in that. I would pull my eyelashes out if I had to do that, right? I get to experience joy, passion, purpose, and fun every day. You know, I jump out of bed at the first chance of the ability to even wake up loving what I'm going to do every day, because I'm going to serve somebody. I'm going to empower somebody. I'm going to encourage somebody, and I'm going to inspire somebody, and I'm going to level somebody up. That's what we all do. We all level people up. You level someone up to your level, you get pulled up to another level, and it's all mindset. It's all mindset and knowledge to get plugged into the right information. And I cannot believe, for someone who has been as a successful business person as me and made so many millions of dollars, I didn't know about compounding interest. I didn't know about it till I was 51 years old, 53 years old. I'm 54, 41 over there, 53 here. Numbers, anyway. So my husband studies business big time. He studies the top companies and what big companies are making money in the world, but he especially studies the network marketing industry. And he knows every top 100 company, what their product is, what their service is, who their top money earners are, what their break percentages are, what the money goes to the field, what the comp plans are, how they pay. He knows all that. Like the sports people know the number on the jersey and what team and their stats. My husband is that guy, right? So 3.5 years ago, he comes to this company, and for 2.5 years, he's after me. And so finally, a little over a year ago, he says to me, babe, I know this is going to be a missed opportunity in our lifetime if we don't try this. So he says, I know you don't want to do it, so I'm going to try it. And so he says, I'm willing to give it 1 hour a day for 1 year, 5 days a week. I'm willing to give it 1 hour a day for 1 year, 5 days a week, to see if I can figure out this thing called cryptocurrency, Forex. I don't even know what they're all called, because I don't do it. But trading, right? So he started in the academy with 1 hour a day, 1 hour a day. Didn't know anything about it, nothing. It was Chinese, okay? Fast forward to now, he's retiring himself in 1 year with 1 hour a day, 5 days a week. He's retiring himself because he's learned how to do something that is the billion-dollar level. It's from where the millionaires to the billionaires make their money, you guys. It's the next level money. And you don't need a college degree. You don't need a high school diploma. You don't need any special skills. You don't need to know how to add and read. You don't know how to spell. You don't even have to know how many states are in the country and how many countries are in the world. You don't even have to know north, south, east from west. And you don't even have to know what else. A lot of things you don't have to know. It's mindset. It's mindset and knowledge. And this is what I wanted to leave you with. If you don't have a purpose or a passion, you have to learn how to make money, and you have to start digging into personal development. And those are the two things I want to leave you with today. If you've never done personal development, I want to introduce you to a program that's starting tomorrow, and it's 5 days, and it's only $17. 5 days, $17, starts tomorrow. It's a half an hour every day. If you can't make it live at noon, you can catch the playbacks. I promise you, what you will get from that single 5 day investment into your mindset will launch you into a world you've never known. It'll put you in the center of people that make millions, people that want to lift you up, empower you, encourage you, and inspire you to do better in life. That doesn't exist down here. People here don't lift you up, empower, and encourage you to do better and inspire you in life, because then that means you would take their job. Right? Doesn't exist. It exists up here in this world. You got to get up into this world. So I want to leave you with that one. It's $17. If you want to know about it, drop a comment and I'll make sure that you get the information on it. The second one, if you're in network marketing or sales of any kind whatsoever, I want to introduce you to a program that I have called MAP. It's called Master the Art of Prospecting. If you want to know about MAP, drop a comment on MAP. If you're in a relationship and you want to have a better marriage, and you want to learn how to communicate and connect with people, and you want to learn how to raise your frequency, and you want to learn how to do what these ladies have done on a big scale, that's called MAC, which is MAHC. If you want to know about that, drop that in there. Now I want to introduce you to the academy that my husband went to, and the academy that all these people are going to. Brian, are you there? Brian, are you there?
Yes, I'm right here.
So this is a successful businessman. He has not taken any of my courses. He's already a successful businessman. He's in the higher frequency. He's already into personal development. He's already made millions. He understands residual income. He understands leverage, and he's in the academy. Brian, why are you in the academy? Can you turn your camera? There you go.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Hey, Darla, you're awesome. Thank you for investing your time in every single one of us. I mean, I learn I learn so many nuggets every time I hear you speak.
Thank you.
So the reason I'm in the academy is because my situation is very much like yours. I've never owned a brick and mortar, but I was in real estate. I've been in real estate for the last 20 years. I used to be a lender, been an investor, and now I am in real estate sales here in North and South Carolina. That's one of the things that I do. And I just remember in 2008, I was over leveraged. I had 7 properties. I had all my money in real estate, stocks, REITs. I mean, you name it. And when the market crashed, I mean, I crashed right along with it. And I'll never forget that moment. And I'll never forget that feeling of just losing everything. And now that I'm in real estate and I have another online business that's somewhat tied to real estate, you know, I always have that feeling that, hey, you know what? Real estate right now is great, but it's cyclical. And so I've been searching for something that is not tied to real estate. And, you know, real estate is local. So if I wanted to move to Alabama, I would have to get my real estate license there. The academy is global. I can learn a skill set that I can do from anywhere and live anywhere in the world and be able to teach that to my children.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. So
Thank
this
you.
academy is a school. It's no different than an online school for whatever DeBry or whatever those things are. It's a school. But the educators in the traditional world don't make millions of dollars. The educators and teachers in this school make millions of dollars, and it's owned by a billionaire. Okay, so these millionaires are leveling up on their way to make multi-millions and multi-millions to billions, because it's the pathway that exists when you learn this type of money, learning compounding and learning how to buy cryptocurrency and trade your coins and trade Forex and all that kind of stuff. It's about getting the knowledge and the education like I would need if I was going to be a swimsuit model, that kind of knowledge. Okay, it's the same thing. You cannot and you do not want to try and self-teach yourself how to do this type of money. You want to get the education so that you can get the right information and learn financial literacy versus financial illiteracy. Financial illiteracy exists over here because there is no chance at becoming free and selfless. So if I died today, if you died today, what happens to your paycheck? It stops. If you had a stroke and you ended up in the hospital or in a bed, what happens to your paycheck? It stops. If I died today, my money doesn't stop. I have so many streams of income, which is what you'll learn in my MAC course. You'll learn how to build diversified streams of residual leveraged income and how to compound it into the universe of money. Okay, that's what you'll learn over here by this type of mentorship. Okay, we're all tied to this type of mentorship, to this type of money and energy that brings you into this world. And I promise you, the higher you get, the less you work, the less you use your hands, because you're learning how to do things differently. So this academy, I want you to research it. Okay, get back with whoever invited you to this, and think about going to school to be empowered with the education and the skill for what the world is going to be in the future anyway. You're just getting the education on it before you're forced into it. Remember when we were forced into the ATM card or to the ATM card? Remember when Uber came out and Lyft. And we were like, there's no way I'm sitting in a stranger's car. There's no way I'm not getting in one of those cars. That's crazy. And now it's all you take. And now taxis are practically out of business. This is the shift that's happening in the world. Remember the first time you saw the self-checkout at the grocery store and you were like, what is that? And now that's all we use. The world is changing, guys, right in front of our eyes. And especially right now with everything that's happening with our dollar, you have got to learn something new or you get left behind. It's just that simple, but get empowered and get educated. And for $175 a month, you have to say, how much can it make me? Not how much can it cost? How much does it cost? If you say, I can't afford that, that's your programming, and you need a mentor to help you unprogram your programming. So whatever you are looking for and need, I want to help connect you with. I'm a connector. Get back with whoever invited you to watch this thing. Ask them what programs. They're involved with them. Ask them for information. If you want to connect with me, connect with me. You know how to find me on Facebook. And I hope that you took away something from this that lifted you up, inspired you, and empowered you. And here's one thing I'm going to leave you with. Change your non-negotiables that you do every day. Change your non-negotiables. What is a non-negotiable? I have to go to the gym. I meditate every morning. I want to take my kid to school. I go golfing on the weekends. I watch football every Sunday. Change your non-negotiables to what you do and you'll change your life. Start putting 1 hour a day of the academy at the top of your non-negotiable, 30 minutes of reading a personal development book every day, going to a seminar that you've never gone to today that talks about empowering your mind, and that you're in a room filled with millionaires and billionaires and money, because success leaves clues. These people lift you up, they empower you because they've been given a gift. I've been given a gift. I want you to have my gift. My gift is not for me to keep. I've been given this life. It's for me to help empower, inspire, encourage, and educate others to be able to have the same. So whatever you do, lift yourself up, rise yourself up, believe in something bigger, and reach up. And I want to share one last thing with you. This book. My mother, I have a quote in here about my mom that made everything I did worth it. And so in this book, and if you would like this book, I have these copies. If you would like to get this book, it's really great. But my mom said, honey, I don't know how you did it, but you figured out how to have the life I always wanted. I wanted nothing more than to raise you kids. That's empowering. Don't get yourself into that position. You can be out of that position, like Tanya's story, in 12 months, but you've got to invest in a mentor, a coach, and your mindset. You can't just join a company, and you can't just join something and not invest in a mentor and a mindset coach and somebody to help you get there. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. I'm so impressed that this many stayed the whole time, and it means so much to me. That's a direct reflection of meaning that I gave you something of value, and to me that fills my cup. It brings the universe nothing but love back to me and joy. If I can serve you and help you and connect you in any way, please reach out to me. And at the very least, start this program. Do this 5-day program tomorrow for $17. $17. If you can't afford $17, I will pay for you to go. I just want you to go and start the change. Start the change and dream and believe that 12 months from now, 24 months from now, you can be at a place that you couldn't be if you spent another 40 years over here. All right, you guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you all and I love you all. Good night. Bye.